People are losing their homes throughout the city and they think that there's nothing that they can do about it. Investors gonna hate me for this. However, on this video, I'm going to share with you how to make sure that you never lose your property and how you can actually acquire more. Hey family, welcome back. And in studio, I've got with me Apiwe Nangu from Nangu Estates, and he's here today to share some knowledge on real estate. So he's finding himself in the real estate industry and he's been in it for almost a decade. So without further ado, Apiwe, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, my man. I'm doing great.
Amazing.
No,
Thank you so much for actually taking the time to be here.
yeah, no. Look, it's a privilege for me to, be here on your platform, and I'm just as a disclaimer. I mean, none of this is scripted, and so
Sure.
we're gonna see how it goes. But
Yes.
I'm looking forward to future engagements with you, further engagements. Yeah.
100%. So, guys, for those of you who want to meet out the gate, so what we will be doing is we will share what's happening in our city and how people are actually losing their homes and what they can do in order to actually, in fact, what other people do to make sure that they don't fall into that hole. So, what we are sharing is not financial advice, but you'll be sharing his decade long experience. So, let's get into it. And before we do that, please guys do subscribe to our channel, because if you don't subscribe, chances are that you will never see our content again. And when you subscribe, then that obviously tells the algorithm that you like what you have seen, and then it will notify you the next time when we upload a video. And it also helps others obviously to find the channel. So without further ado, Apiwe, tell us, why did you choose this industry?
Okay, so I think it's only fair to maybe start by giving a bit of a background, just that obviously the viewers can know exactly
Sure.
who I am and what my background is. So my background is in finance. I've got a qualification in financial planning. So I was working for name of a company. It's a reputable financial advisory company, and so and I discovered as I was selling life covers
Sure.
to clients, about almost every 10 clients I was selling life covers to,
Sure.
I would have about 3 or 4 people who would turn around and buy property.
Okay.
So it started off with clients just asking me questions about property. Is it true if I buy a life cover, will I be able to use it to seed my bond for my property? And so basically that's how it all started. So I started inquiring, I started calling around some agents, and the idea that I had was that I just wanted to have someone that I can refer
Sure.
these clients to. Write them up on life covers, and then refer them to them so that they can assist them with their property needs. And so that's basically how it works. So I called a couple of agencies, called a couple of people, and none of them were interested in working with me. And I don't know, maybe I didn't explain myself
Yes.
clearly or eloquently enough. But long story short, I was on my way to Joburg. I was attending another conference that side. And so I met a lady in the plane. So most of the time, if I'm on a plane, I'm in mind my own business mode.
Sure. Yes.
Yeah.
Take the laptop out as soon as you
So,
reach.
I don't really talk to or engage,
Okay.
talk to people. I'll just maybe pull out a book or maybe just be on my phone. So this lady that was sitting next to me, she was very talkative. She was very bubbly. She was an older Afrikaans lady. And so she started talking to me, and then so I started talking with her, engaging with her, and only to find out that she is a real estate agent.
Ah.
So I begin to share my problem, with her.
Sure.
This is what I'm experiencing, and this is, what I'm like happening in my business. So I've actually been looking for someone that
Sure.
I can refer these clients to. And so she was relocating to Johannesburg. She was leaving an agency that she worked for in Utenek. And so she was like, no, you should actually try working part-time. That's what you should do. You should
Yes, and
work
serve
part-time.
these clients.
Yeah, and serve this client and see how it goes. So basically, we exchanged numbers. She gave me her principal's number, and she said, when you get back to PE, make sure you contact her and go and see her. And then that's basically, long story short, that's how I entered into the real estate industry. Yeah.
So what challenges did you experience when you first went and worked for this reputable real estate company? And what challenges does the buyers actually experience before we get to the solutions?
Okay. So, it's real estate is not an easy industry to get into. It is, it's a cutthroat industry.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not easy to establish yourself as an agent. So, but luckily I come from a background, with selling insurance. It's also a cutthroat industry.
Sure.
And that's hard selling because there you're selling a concept. You're selling something
Yes.
that people can't see, feel, and touch. You're selling something that is on paper, basically. Like you're selling a promise, they would say. So with real estate, it was a bit easy for me because I'm selling something that someone can physically touch, see,
Yeah.
and feel.
And
So
everyone dreams of owning their own houses.
exactly, yeah. So it does basically half of the selling for you. So for me, it made it like slightly a little bit easier for me to. So it was only just like a matter of understanding the legal aspect to it, the paperwork, how to explain contracts, to clients and take them through all the paperwork. And it is a longer process.
Sure.
The process of owning property, it is a longer process. It can take anywhere, for a cash transaction, it can take, I would say, best case scenario, around 2.5 months. But if it's a bond, it can take anywhere from 3 months to,
Yeah. I think I was
3 to 6 months, yeah, depending on, what the challenges are
Yeah.
along the way. But yeah.
ours would take like more or less 4 or 6 months whenever we actually purchase property. So what challenges do buyers normally experience who wish to buy? Because people have been trying to buy. In fact, myself and my wife, we tried buying and we experienced obstacle after obstacle after obstacle because we are self-employed. And only until I started working with a certain individual, and then everything went smooth. So, what challenges are people generally experiencing?
Yeah, so the main challenges is trying to do things by themselves. So as I said, buying a property it's a complex thing. It's not. Yes, the dream can seem simple, like I want to own,
Sure.
but it's not like buying a car. It's easier buying a car.
Yeah.
Or it's easier buying, opening up an account and buying clothes on credit.
Yeah.
It's a different and a complex process. So yeah, I think one of the main challenges is not linking up with the proper person or an expert that will walk you
Sure.
through the process, because you need someone to, especially if you've never bought property, you need someone to walk you through the whole process, to explain all the different steps in the
Steps.
process. Yeah, before you
So
actually.
I want to get in there before because I can actually relate because me and my wife, we gave up and we said, you know what, we're not doing this again because we don't want to go through the emotional phase of having tried everything and then it fails. But until I actually reached out and got help. So guys, if you have been struggling to actually get yourself your first property, in the description below, I'll leave some details which you can actually get in touch with, and so you will be able to obviously or potentially actually get it right this time. So please do proceed.
Okay, yeah, so I think just so that your viewers also know, I deal mostly with the affordable market, so which is that's where I cut my teeth. It's with the affordable market, which means properties under $1 million. So
Sure.
you can understand the type of clientele
Yeah.
that I'm dealing
different.
with there. So there's different challenges, obviously, that we see. People not having their credit scores, the correct score, and maybe not conducting their finances properly in such a way that makes them be able to qualify for a loan. But nonetheless, even with challenges, there are some deals and transactions that we've been able to assist clients in. So, but I think in totality, what I want to say is that there's always a solution to whatever the challenge is.
Sure.
All that it takes is for a person to be realistic and a person to be open to suggestions and open to options.
Yeah.
And and willingness to like just to be guided and to kind of be mentored in the whole process.
Fantastic. So speaking of credit score, because oftentimes that is actually what's keeping people back, and in fact, a good credit score is better than cash these days, because you can then, if your credit score is good, then you can purchase anything. Now, getting a person to acquire their first property, all good and well, but so many people are actually losing their properties. And I've been speaking to quite a number of business people throughout the city, and they told me the opportunity around it. So we will get to the opportunity later. But why are people losing their homes, and what can they do to actually make sure that that doesn't happen to them?
Yeah. Look, there's a number of reasons, and obviously, of late, the most recent has been, COVID. Something like COVID, even though it's happened, it's been a couple of years now, 3 years or so, but we are still feeling the knock-on effects of that, the economy
Yes.
and people, and but other than that, I would say not, not conducting the finances correctly. Like when you have a bond, you have to prioritize that is a payment that you must make sure that you are servicing on a monthly basis, because at the end of the day, the banks they kind of they don't have any emotions.
Yeah.
They're kind of cutthroat when it comes to if they're giving you money, they expect you at the end of the day, they expect you to to service that loan, and so you have to basically make sure you're paying that money back. So I'd say that's one of the.
Now, the problem that I see is you have a good credit score, you have proven to the bank that you can purchase a property, but now you go and buy a house that, yes, on paper, it shows that you can afford this house, but that house needs its gas cut, it needs heights and decks, it needs to be maintained.
Yes.
And then people find out a few years later on.
Absolutely. Overcommitting, I think overcommitting yourself, because someone can be approved for I'll make an example. Let's say someone's approved for 700,000 or 750,000 on paper.
Sure.
And then they will go out and they'll max out on their approval and not taking the other expenses into consideration. So people should not be too aggressive when it comes to how much they can qualify for, how much they can afford, because you cannot foresee future challenges, or maybe there might be some expenses that you can't really be able to account for, and that can put you in trouble. So yes, definitely overcommitting, that can cause down the line, it can cause you to be in a bad space financially, and you end up losing your property. So I think a rule of thumb is, if you buy for around 60 to 70% for what you can actually qualify for, so that there's a bit of a buffer for you to be able to cater to other expenses that can come up.
Now, not everyone is business savvy or knows that there are things that you can do in order to not lose your property, even if you don't afford at that point of time to pay it. Let me explain. A lady comes to me and says, Lucian, I'm about to lose my property and it's going on auction this week. And I think to myself, why wait till then? Because if you can't afford the property, move to a less expensive property.
Absolutely.
And then put people in to rent, and then they pay your bond. And when I explained that, she was like, you know what, this was so traumatizing that I didn't even think of it. And me being the entrepreneur, I'm already thinking, you know what, in fact, when I bought this property, I decided, you know what, it's a liability because we're living in it as a family. But how do I turn this into an asset? And I decided, you know what, spend a couple of dollars, and create the studio. And now the studio is obviously generating because people are coming to rent the space. People are coming to do their podcasts, etc. They are doing photo shoots, etc. You know, and I don't have to go out and rent an office space. So people can do stuff like that. But what other things can people actually still do in order to make sure that besides you mentioned that buying for, like, let's say 60%. In my case, I obviously created my office or my studio right here. What else can they do?
Yeah, look, I think obviously you are very I would say, can I say, for lack of better words, astute business person, and I mean, I've not known you for a long time, but
Sure.
I can see that you think out of the box and you are creative. So creativity is something that can help you obviously in the long run, and help you to kind of maneuver your way out of situations. So I think, but the most important thing is getting the right knowledge, investing in yourself, getting the right knowledge, knowing and exploring all the options that are available, because in this day and age that we live in, there's so many
There are
options available. And for everyone, not only for, doesn't matter what you call it, if you are higher class, doesn't matter what class you are in, or there's options available for everyone. So the most important thing is you need to invest in yourself, in the knowledge. You need to seek information.
Sure.
And obviously people's situations, all our situations differ. People's situations differ. So a solution that might be suitable for you, it might not be suitable for the next person. Yeah. So but also just to get around the right people that that have the skill and that have the expertise in the space, and just bounce off ideas with them, and like you said, there's a lady that came to you, and she shared her problem. And I think that's also one thing, is a lot of people sometimes when they're going through problems, and then when there's issues and challenges, they don't want to ask for help.
Yes,
you know
yes.
what I'm saying?
People shouldn't know.
There's a lot of people
their
that
business.
they're suffering in silence, and
Sure.
and that can be something that can be to your detriment.
Sure.
If you need help, be just open with your situation. Be honest about it, so that you can be directed, at least, if not helped immediately, you can be directed in the right path, and so that you can seek help. So I mean, look, I've got a couple of case studies of people that I have assisted, and different sorts of people. There was a lady who, she was earning less than 10,000, but her dream was to buy a house, and but her financial situation, her credit score and everything was terrible. But luckily enough, she was open to. So I always give solutions.
Sure.
When someone opens up to me with the problems, it's like immediately I'll have like 2 or 3 different options available for them. Yeah.
So before we get into that, we want to hear this. So family, Apiwe has availed himself to actually be of assistance. So his details will also be below. So please take charge of this. I always say this podcast shouldn't necessarily be just a normal program that you watch every day, but come back daily and learn, and hopefully you implement and use these professionals and their expertise in order to improve your quality of life. Please do explain.
Yes. So this lady, she, her dream was to own. She needs to own a property, so on and so forth. Couldn't qualify for the property. Long story short. Now there's something that a lot of people, maybe there's not enough knowledge being shared about.
Sure.
But there's a program by the government. It's called FLISP.
FLISP, yes, I'm familiar with it.
So FLISP is basically, it's the government incentivizing and helping people to own properties. And so basically what they do is they give you a certain amount of money depending on the, how much you earn.
Sure.
And so there's a scale that they use. The less that you earn, the more money they give you. And
Sure.
I think now the latest figures now is that they can give you like around up to 167,000.
Wow.
Yeah, in that region, if you're earning, say 3.5 thousand. And then obviously the higher you earn, the less that they
Yes.
give you. So this is basically free money.
Yeah, subsidy.
It's not based on a good or a bad credit score.
Sure.
You know, it's not based on. So you just have to be a first-time homeowner. You have never owned or you have never inherited property before. That's the requirements. You have to have financial dependence. Yeah, that's the requirement. You have to be earning between 3 and 5. I mean, you have to be earning between 3,500 and 22,000 for you to qualify. So, long story short, there was we were able to assist this client and put her onto this program, and basically she was able to acquire a property using FLISP money only. You understand? So basically, no money out of her own pocket. But the thing is, as an agent,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of how can I say incentive
Meat
for
on the
agents
bone.
out
Yes,
there
yes, yes.
to assist
So
clients.
they don't
in
tell
that way.
people this.
So they won't even bother. They were just like, you know what? I mean, but which is understandable because people, they've got bills to pay. So
Sure.
obviously they want to try and meet, make sure that they are meeting their targets as well. But anyway, long story short, but as a business person, I know that, if I help someone like this, she's going to spread the word. It's going to, some way, somehow, there will be a reward. It might
Yeah,
not be
yeah.
immediate financial, but
Yes, but people will come back to you.
Yes. So, so we were able to assist this client. Got approved. She was able to, acquire the property. So that's one case study.
Now, let's say a person already bought their house and now they listen to this and they were like, wow, Apiwe is a legend.
Yeah.
Can I now access that FLISP?
Unfortunately, not. If the property is already registered
Sure.
in your name, depending on when the registration took place, and obviously depending on the financial situation, if whether they'll qualify or not. But in most cases, if it's already registered in your name, then you won't qualify because in order to qualify, they do the checks
Sure.
to see if there's ever been a property that's been in your name. They do a number of checks. They check with Home Affairs.
Sure.
They do a
You
number of
need
checks.
to be South African, obviously.
Yeah, now I think it's changed now. You don't necessarily have to be South African, but you must have your paperwork in order. So
Sure.
yeah, if you've got your
Okay.
paperwork in order, but foreign nationals can also acquire.
So foreign nationals can come and purchase houses here and our people don't even know this.
Yeah, no.
Do you need to be a specific age?
I think minimum is about 18. Yeah, so you must be
Okay.
working. You must be someone
Yeah,
that is
earning
employed.
between 3,500
Three
and
and a half,
22,000.
yeah. But now they're also taking on people that are self-employed, but
Okay.
they just ask for documents to substantiate. So if, for instance, you are cutting hair, or I'm just
Sure.
making an example,
Yeah.
and they'll ask for like an affidavit. Okay, you are self-employed, you're cutting hair. Just go to the police station, do an affidavit, and then you need to kind of state how much you are earning. So just like to advise people out there, if you're doing like informal business, try and bank your money so that
Sure.
you can provide records to show as proof that this is the money that I'm making
Sure.
on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, so that you can qualify for programs like this. So yeah.
Apiwe, let's get to the big problem that we are facing with. So every week, properties go on auction, and that is basically families losing their homes. So, yes, as an investor, we also go out and seek opportunities like this. But how many properties probably go on auction on a monthly basis in our city?
In our city, look, an auction I'd say in a month, there's about, auctions happen every Friday.
Sure.
There's about 3 different share of houses
Sure.
that I'm aware of. And, the thing of auctions, I actually only just got into it this year. So I don't want to,
Yes.
act as if I'm the expert in that
Sure.
area, because that is it's a niche in this industry,
own.
niche market. Yeah, yeah, people that are very experienced and they've been doing it for many years. So I'll only share briefly
Sure.
what I know. So yeah, and then so the sheriff, I would say about on average there can be 3 auctions that take place every Friday. So if you do the maths, 3 times 4 is 12. So looking at 12 houses every month being auctioned off, you know.
Sure.
So but there's properties coming up, like, you know, on a weekly basis, on new auctions, new people losing their homes. So it is something that's happening. It's something that
So, and that is a big problem because that is 12 families. However, I've been speaking to entrepreneurs and they've been sharing with me that they try and close these deals even before it goes to the sheriff. So there are many more happening
yes,
without our knowledge.
because some do get cancelled. Yeah, some of the auctions do get cancelled. So it's
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's a big problem because I can just imagine. I come from living in an informal settlement and I know what it's like not having a house or having to move there. So in 2000, I had to actually move to this informal settlement and I chose to stay with my aunt in Shorterville whilst my mother moved there with my other siblings. And the move wasn't too smooth for me as a person, but I had to obviously adapt to it, etc. And seeing what's happening, I can just imagine what they are going through because I went through the very same emotions, having to move there, and so families are basically they're in trouble. But like you said that if they educate themselves concerning the opportunities that there are at this point of time, like the FLISP, like not buying above what you can actually afford, then we can change things.
Absolutely.
We won't be able to save everyone, but we can do a lot.
Absolutely. And, you know, if people ever find themselves in a situation, well, obviously at that stage, it's almost already too late, you know. So people shouldn't wait that long in order to ask for help. But however, if you find yourself, you know, a situation where, you know, the banks, they basically knocking on your door, the sheriff, you know, they starting to, you know, send the letters and so on and so forth, and you know that it's something that's coming up, don't sit it out, don't, you know, and wish and hope for the best, because it's gonna turn out it's gonna turn out ugly. Look for, you know, people like myself, because I'm in the industry. I've got, you know, a database of people who are buyers, people that are pre-approved, you know, people that have cash, people that want to buy. So we can kind of you know, assist you, and where, you know, we can assist you at least in clearing your debt. And then you can move on to, you know, the next chapter in your life. So basically, we can help to save, because the thing about the auction is that it can go, the property can go for, you know, whatever amount, you know, the highest bid, and the bids are going for low. People are not the people that go to auction are not there, you know,
to put money in your pocket.
they are not like the people that are viewing properties when the property is listed through an agent.
The sharks.
You understand? They are there. They want to get, you know, cheapest buyer type of a situation, and the sheriff also, they will just sign off, and you know, and transactions are happening. So you'll find that there's a lot of properties that are going for like you know, 100,000, you know, property like in a nice area, nice location, you know, going for 100,000. When you turn around and you look into it and you see the valuation, this property is actually valued at like, you know, 750,000 or 900 or even $1 million, you know. So it's not a good option to wait, you know, until your property, you know, gets auctioned off, and then you think you're gonna, you know, you're gonna be better off financially. Rather get into contact with, you know, with us, and see how we can assist you, and at least we can, you know, clear your debt, make sure all your debt will be cleared in whatever transaction that will take place, and then you can move on.
This reminds me of in lockdown, a friend of mine gave me a call and said, Lucian, I've been paying my car for 6 years and I still owe the bank X amount and they want to take my car. I would rather die than give it to them, because the bank would most probably even sell it for lower than for less than what he owes the bank, and then you still have debt, and that's after 6 years. And upon viewing my options, we made sure that the bank doesn't get the car. And yeah, people are not always open to speak about this. In fact, we are gonna get some heat just for speaking about this because business people can be ruthless and they don't want this info to actually go out.
Absolutely.
But I'm just thinking of all of the people that we'll be able to help. So
Sure.
if we have to get fire, let's
So be it.
yeah, so be it.
Yeah.
So something that you also shared with me the other day when we did the advertising for the other properties, then you shared with me like the units that that's now we're moving into the investing side of it, right?
Okay.
So people who buy
The investing side of auction
of, no of properties.
just property. Okay.
In fact, we should have stayed on auctions. But how can people actually get into because yes, you feel bad for auction properties going on auction, but if it's there, it's there. How can people position themselves to actually
Yeah.
participate in this
Yeah,
opportunity?
look, let me also say that there are people that are trying to gatekeep, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I've met some of them.
Yeah. What is auction? But you know, the sheriff's office, this is, it's a government office, you know.
Yeah,
It's not a private institution. So this is something basically that it's open for everyone. But obviously, people don't have the knowledge or the time or
Sure.
to even look into and investigate. But you can go there at any time. You can get the necessary information. They can, explain to you the process of, getting
Sure.
involved, getting registered, and so on and so forth. But it is sad to say, I have to say, there are people that are trying to keep, people out.
Sure.
So, it's not easy to.
When you came to me, I already knew about the opportunity around it, but you just made it more smoother. So people are busy these days. Can they get into contact with you in this regard as well?
Look, they can get into contact with me, and obviously what we spoke about
Sure.
is kind of still at conceptual
Sure.
stage.
Sure.
This idea that we were sharing, but it's definitely it's a good idea and something that we
Sure.
are looking into, see how we can open it up to the people and assist them.
Yeah.
But obviously we just we working on it. So,
Sure.
but definitely in the meantime, if there is interest, definitely, contact us so that we can line you up and see
Sure.
how you can get involved.
By the time this video goes live, then everything will be in place already. Yeah. So, guys, earlier this week, me and Apiwe, we went to a specific development site, and whilst we were doing the recording of this commercial properties, you mentioned something interesting. You said that when buying a property, you can actually get the rent from it. You made the example, you can get the rent in that area for like 9K per month.
Yeah.
However, the bond would be, just buying the property would cost you like 11 or so. Does a person lose out in that regard? I'll just make that clear, because you explained it to me and that was like a aha moment. I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah. So, when it comes to investing, there's different strategies
Sure.
that people need to look at. And long-term strategies, obviously, and then there's a shorter-term strategies. So with that development in particular, it's situated in Lorraine. It's Tokai Apartments. And so that location, it's a good location. That's
Hot
like
property.
Yes, that's that's a very good location. So if someone is buying, an investor is buying into a location like that, they would buy because of the long-term
Sure.
gains, that they will get, because there they know that there will be appreciation. The property will appreciate in value over the long term, and
Sure.
as the property appreciates in value, then the rentals as well, they will also
Increase.
they will increase. So whoever's buying in there will know that they don't have to sell in any. Probably they can hold on to that property for easy 15, 20 years, and they will probably definitely double their money over the time frame or the time period.
Sure.
So yeah, so capital appreciation is something you must look into.
Sure.
The area, will your property be able to grow? The value of your property, will it be able to grow substantially? Will it beat inflation?
Sure.
You have to take that into consideration. Inflation and the depreciating value of money. You have to take all those things into consideration. So yeah, that's just some of the things that people need to think about.
Apiwe, if I were to be asked about case studies from my industry, because I've also been in it for a decade or so. In fact, when you go to my website /case studies, then you'll see all of the stuff that's been happening and the success stories, etc. And I'm sure you have quite a bit. Share with us what was the journey like, and maybe even share some experiences with us.
Yeah. So in my career, I ended up developing a passion for helping and assisting the normal person. You understand? So
Okay.
I don't know if, so basically, I've got a couple of success stories that I can share. There is a lady. One of them, she's a teacher. And back when I first assisted her, she was earning about 12,000 rand, and but she wanted to own property.
Sure.
So we assisted her in acquiring, her first property, which was a flat, basically, the one that. So she a primary residence, so she moved into that property. But she also wanted to, she was open to investing in property and kind of growing a portfolio and earning extra, income from and through property. So after her first property, couple of months down the line, we were able to assist her in getting an investment property, a second property. So this is all within a 12-month period.
Wow.
Someone that's earning 12,000 rand being able to buy two properties, and she was very fortunate and lucky because the second property, which is investment property, it was earning back then. There was income of about, I think it was around 9,000, if I remember correctly. So it's generating 9,000. It was covering, all the expenses, so basically she was in a better off position there. And then after that, she went on to a journey by herself. Another lady I can think of is she's a social worker. She's working for social development. She's earning about 20,000. And a couple of years back, I advised her, and I just gave her like the blueprint or the advice. But she didn't come to me to assist. She took off the back of my advice. She went and she bought, and I met up with her recently, just yesterday, because actually there's another property where she needed assistance in getting a new tenant in. So I'm able to secure a tenant for this one property. So she opened up to me yesterday, and she's telling me she now owns 4 properties. She owns 4 properties, and they are all tenanted. And she's thinking of, she wants to retire. She wants to leave, she doesn't want to be formally employed by social development. Sure. And so I'll be looking at options for her as well for, at least over the next, 5 or so years, that she'll be in a position to be able to retire early, leave a job, and because she has a passion, for property, then she will be able to focus entirely in her journey in investing in property and growing her portfolio. So that's another lady I can think of another gentleman who is actually a foreign national. He's an Ethiopian gentleman, and he's a business person. And he's been very loyal with me. So I've assisted him. When we first met, he didn't own any property. He actually owned a car wash business.
Okay.
Yeah, but he wanted to buy a property. But fortunately for him, all his things were in order. His paperwork, passport, and the documents for the company and everything, they were all in order. So it was easy to be able to assist him. He has an accountant that's working on his books and everything. So he ended up buying. Now he's very aggressive though. So he ended up buying his first property. The property registered within 3 months down the line, he's contacting me. He wants to buy another property. He turned it, so it's a business he did. He bought business property. The first property he bought, it zone business, and so he basically turned it into like a BNB.
Sure.
Second property, in close proximity, within I'll say 3 or 4 months, he went and bought it. The bank was able to assist him. So I think a lot of people, they've got fears. They think the bank won't assist them, or they've got a lot of fears about buying property and perceptions, I'd say, maybe preconceived notions about the bank and getting assistance and so on and so forth. But the banks have appetite, because remember, if you buy a property, that's adding onto their their asset, what you call it, registry.
Yes.
It's an asset for them. So
Yes.
and if that property is making money, and you making money off of that property, then they're happy. So they want you to know how to make money. They want you to know how to use their money to make money, and for you to be in a better off position. The bank doesn't want people to suffer. You understand? The bank it's an institution that wants to loan money. That's how they make their money, by giving out loans. So the more loans that they can give to people, then the more they can make money. And so people just need to obviously get the right information, and they need to understand and know how to use the bank's money to make themselves in a better off position in the long run. So basically, this guy, he bought the second property registered, and now we're currently busy with him now on his third acquisition, third property, and this is within 1.5 years time frame. You understand? And so that property is about to register within the next, I would say, month or month and a half. It's gonna register. He's already looking and thinking about getting the next one. So but he's very aggressive though. But he does have good cash reserves. So again, I'm not encouraging people to be aggressive and reckless, especially when it comes to getting credit, because you can put yourself in a difficult situation in the long run. But it's only safe to do so when you have good cash reserves. If you have got money put away, invested somewhere or saved, then you are in the best or better off position to be aggressive when it comes to credit. Yeah, because if anything happens, then at least you will be able to offset some of what you call it, the expenses and stuff like that. You will still be able to be afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's some of the case studies I can think of. And I was thinking about, and I keep thinking about it, is that there's been many people, I've seen them from owning no property, and now they're owning many properties. Some of them, they're owning more. I don't have a big property portfolio. I'll say that. I'm not shy about saying that. So I don't have a big property portfolio. I do invest in property. But sometimes, you assist people, they end up, they're doing very well, and you just think to yourself, wow. I mean, I was able to be part of, the journey, yes, and the process, where, helping people to be better off than they were when they first met with you. So it's a nice thing to see.
I had a conversation with a pastor recently, and he acquired a property through his payslip, for lack of a better term. And then now he rents that property out. And I was like, so why not get another property? He was like, how? So people don't understand.
Exactly.
If you get your first property based on your payslip, and then rent it out, so that is an extra income that comes in. So you can then prove to the bank, what I'm having another source of income.
Absolutely.
So now you can purchase another one.
Absolutely.
And then the second objection was, but what if those people are not able to pay their rent?
Those are the fears that people have.
Fears.
But just also to add on to that, when you buy a property and you stay in it, right, then it becomes it's actually a liability. Yeah, because you are paying. And even to the bank, if you do your they have the balance sheets and stuff that they ask for when you applying for property. they will look at it as a liability. But the moment you put a tenant in and you rent it out and there's a lease agreement, the moment the bank receives a lease agreement, then the way they view the property, it changes now. It's not a liability anymore. Now it's an asset, because now it's adding income to your what you call it, your pocket. So it puts you in a higher bracket when it comes to affordability. Now the bank, they've got more appetite. They say, okay, you're actually someone that is responsible. You know how to use money. And that's what they basically look at. Does this person, is he reckless with finances, or does he know how to conduct his finances in the right way? And the more you conduct your finances the right way, the more, they smile, they're happy, they'll be willing to give you money, give you more money. So it puts you in a better space in terms of affordability. And yes, you can definitely, I was chatting to a bond originator not too long ago. And she said, the banks, they can give you as much, so you can actually have as many bonds. There's no limit to the amount of bonds that one can have. You know what I'm saying? As long as, you're doing everything the right way, you can have, many bonds. You can have, 3 or 4 bonds. Why not, if the properties are paying themselves? But for that person that approach you, they need to have someone like an expert that can assist them. So, some people, maybe they have a different profession or whatever career. Don't now try and do everything yourself. That's also another mistake that people make. Don't try to do things yourself. Have an expert, have someone that will just take care of that investment, and someone that will help you and guide you to grow, your portfolio and give you the right advice. And you just take the back seat. You just, collect the money at the end of the day and be responsible. If you are a pastor, focus on that. If you are, a teacher, focus on teaching, or if you whatever. Exactly. Yes. There's people that they've got the wealth of experience and knowledge, and they know exactly what to do. All you have to do is to open up and tell them, this is the situation, this is what I want to do, this is my goals, and then they will help you to achieve those goals. Yeah.
If one is earning commission only and not necessarily a salary, can one buy a property?
Absolutely, yes. So I've always been commissioned. The first job I worked, I was selling clothes.
I started selling chocolates.
Really? Yeah.
I
So
was at school. Yeah.
is it? Oh, okay. Now, if you're going back to school, then I was selling pens at school. I was selling everything at school. Yeah. Whatever I got my hands on at school, I'd sell. Yeah.
Sure.
So, but professionally, after tertiary, I would say, yeah. The first job I worked, I was selling clothes at a clothing boutique. I was earning about 1.2 back then, and I'm thinking I've arrived.
But back then, money was money.
Back then,
now,
1,000 was like, I'm there, I'm coming right. So yeah, and then from there, I moved on to telesales. So I was earning over double that. So I was earning 4,000. Telesales, that didn't work out. And then from there, that was the last time I worked as a salaried employee. From then I got into the insurance industry, and I became commission only. So all I know my whole life, has been, commission. Yeah.
In fact, I only do things that pay me commission. If I'm gonna have to sell time and I get a once-off check, I'm like, no. But yeah, please do.
Yeah. Even my wife, I'm blessed and very fortunate to have a very good wife. But we're in a situation, and she was a salaried, she was an admin person.
Yes.
And I'm just looking at how she's toiling, she's working hard, and she's enriching another family, and So I got to a space, and we weren't really 100% ready, for that move. But I was like, no, man, you can't be. You trading your time, but what you are earning.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah. So if you could transition over into property, you could actually, for the amount of effort and the time that you are putting into your work, you can more than double, in terms of earning potential. So I managed to convince her, and she left admin, and she's now, she's helping me. We are basically growing the business together. And so, and now, only now in hindsight, I look back, it's the best decision that, you know, she could have made
Yeah.
for her life and for her family. So, so I just view, you know, I view things different. When you earn commission for such a long period of time,
Yeah.
you begin to view,
Don't go back.
yeah, things differently in terms of, you know, how much money you're earning. So,
So I'm part of quite a bit of business opportunities, and one of it is network marketing. So that was actually where I started out in 2013. So I joined a network marketing company,
okay,
and I know a whole lot of network marketers, and I'm not sure whether you're familiar with the industry. So that is basically where you purchase a product,
okay,
and then you introduce three or four people to buy that same product, and then they do the same. But there are obviously a whole lot of uh, negativity around it, but there are so many lucrative ones. So I don't speak on in public about it. But I know so many network marketers
okay,
that are earning commissions constantly every month, and yeah, they are always asking themselves or asking me, would I be able to actually use this in order to purchase property? And up until now, I wasn't too confident because yes, I've used that when starting out to buy assets like a car, etc. But I wasn't sure about property.
yeah.
So
No, definitely.
yeah, that's
My first
actually
property I bought, that's where I was getting to. I forgot
yeah,
your question, but the first property I bought it through, you know, I was a
commissions.
commission. I was still what you call it, financial advisor then, you know. So the first property I bought, it was through that through I was a commission earner, and the banks was able to assist me. But even though I had to pay a deposit, you know, I had to come up with a 10% deposit. But the banks, they were willing to assist me. Fortunately, at that time, you know, I was able to come up with that
Yeah.
deposit. Yeah. So if you are a commission earner, in most cases, you might not be able to get 100% finance. You can be fortunate, but yeah, in most cases, you won't be able to get 100%. You probably they'll give you 80,
80
90%. If you really you're dealing with a bond originator that, you know,
knows the
knows
stuff.
what they're doing and they're on the ball, you could be lucky and you could get you know, even 90%. So, but definitely commission earners can, because in a lot of these guys, even the, you know, that you mentioned in this network marketing, I'm not big on network marketing, but what I do know is that the paperwork is in order. If you can ask them, so how much have you earned over the past 6 months, or they'll be able to draw documents and say, oh no, these have
Sure.
been the earnings and so on, and that's
Yeah,
all that the bank basically
that's all the
wants to
bank
see.
wants.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
that's all they want to see.
I was actually shocked because even though it was not a salary based, but it still comes through consistently every month on the
Sure, sure,
15th,
sure, sure. Yeah,
you
that
know.
consistency is
And
key. Yeah.
I've been off the camera, I've been telling people, guys, go into this, especially if you are working full time and you want something on the side, or you are not doing anything. So start off there and then use that as a stepping stone. Apiwe, we are about to wrap up. Are there any last tips that you wish to share?
Mm. Yeah, I would say I think we covered it all. Again, it's my first podcast, so
Ah,
it was quite kind of nerve-wracking. You know, just the thought of having to come. I
yeah,
almost say, can we do it another?
yes.
But no, I enjoyed it thoroughly, and you know, I'm glad that you know, we were able to have you on, and I'm looking forward to future engagements. And please, if anyone needs assistance, they feel like they could relate to the information that we shared, they want, you know, more hands-on approach, someone to assist them, please contact me, and then we will definitely assist you in your journey.
There we have it, family. Thank you so much for tuning in. And please do remember, like and subscribe so you actually get a notification the next time when we upload a video. And if you can take another minute and just comment below what you have learned from this and share with us the questions that you may have, and I will get up here to answer it professionally. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. See you on our next one.